Hold on. Got it. Okay. All right. We're going to record calling out on the Green Committee, 6:40, blah, 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 and all that stuff. And I'm going to read my thing because anybody who's on Zoom is already on Zoom and things like that. This agenda lists all the topics, blah, 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 and all that stuff. Okay. I know you guys can yell at me for I'm breaking Rob's rules or whatever we got here. Whoever rules this. Oh, no, that doesn't do it. How do I get that? Oh, I know what I have to do. How do I get on there? Ooh,
Yeah, your cursor's on.
my cursor's on there?
It was, yeah.
Oh, there we go. Okay.
There you go. Oh, that's probably your issue with it. You want duplicating your screen. You're extending your screen. Yeah.
Okay. Now are we better at all?
Yeah, seems good.
Yes.
Now we're talking here. I think I figured something out here. What I figured out is beyond me, but I think I figured something out. Okay. I think I had 2 instances of Zoom open. So now I can put my wonderful video on and you can see that people are here. All right. I'm going to go back to where I was so I can stick the damn thing somewhere closer. Stick it over here. All right. Okay. Can are you able to hear us okay, guys?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Perfect.
We need more volume.
Come on.
Yeah, here.
But they also need is I needed to get the duplicate screens or put them over there. So let me put you guys. Oh, wait. We're going to try the old duplicating screens here. Display settings, somewhere around here. Extended, no. Duplicate
Control
these.
F7 brings up the quick settings on this.
It doesn't bring it. I don't trust this computer for anything. All right. I think we're like nationwide now. Very good. Call the meeting to order and all that stuff. So what I really want to do, let me jump. I'm not going to do, since I got the visitors here and all that stuff, I'm not going to do the review of the minutes till later, and we'll go into that. Going to go into my big public comment. Any public comments for the public at this point? Okay. No? Great. I thought that little one was going to give some comments to us. But,
Oh,
what
yeah,
can I
if you
say?
want some, I'll
right.
get some for you.
Okay, so let me jump. I'm going to jump right into like the agenda item on possible grant approved items and things for the next grant. Because I think that's what most of the folks here would like to talk about. Unless you want to talk about the organization of our committee, that's a little tough to talk about because there's only 3 of us, not.
It's very important
5 of us
business as
here.
well.
So that got tough today. So you know what? We are thinking there is the next available grant is in April. Okay. And we would like to be able to apply for something. Well, the grant periods are April and October. Okay. So in order to get ready for the May, we need for the April, we need to have things together for March on that. My question is do you folks feel like you have any projects that you think are pretty much ready, that you would want to be able to apply for in March? Well, for the April grant, because the issue is that you can only do it once a year. So it's a matter of whether we try to get things into the this round in April, or we try to get a bigger round in October. But the idea is the October cycle, because of the way most towns' fiscal budgets work, is a very competitive cycle. The cycle that we have here in April is less competitive because, you know, mostly towns look at their fiscal budget, look at everything, and look to apply, you know, apply for those October grants. So the question is whether you guys think you have anything ready that you might be able to do for the April grant. So I'll open it up to anybody who would like at this point.
As far as the town facility side, I don't think we have anything ready. I certainly don't have funding. I did put together a list of upcoming projects for you guys to explore potential. We also are starting the process of doing energy audits with the school and the town side tomorrow.
Okay,
So without those energy audits, we're kind of in a holding pattern for those.
okay, all right.
Chris, the thought process behind trying to get something done this April is that then that gives us a full year to next April to vet all these projects like you might come up with, or the library or whatever, and, you know, we can have them all sorted out well in advance and hopefully have the funding in place that's gonna be needed to move forward. I think Bill has one that has the potential for making it in April. Dave, do you know if they've actually released the application? Because the last time I talked to Kelly about a week ago, and they were behind schedule, so they were gonna be pushing out the deadline for submission also.
Correct. I have not heard from Kelly. Usually she hits me up a little bit, you know, as soon as it's out there,
Yeah,
but
and-
no, it's not out just yet.
Right.
So we might have a little bit more time. I don't know if that might help on your side.
It's only a matter of weeks, it's not months.
Well, I mean, if you're saying the audit's been done, it's gonna be done this
We're
week.
starting the process. I don't even know what we're in for until we start tomorrow.
Okay.
You know,
All right.
we're doing all this, we're looking at school buildings and town buildings. And for a true energy audit, I can't imagine you're getting more than 1 or 2 buildings a day done. So,
Okay.
kind of see where we start with those guys.
So Dave, we're looking at the,
Bill,
yeah.
I honestly can't hear you.
Bill, can you
so-
throw up your mic volume a little bit?
Is it that, or is it because that's turned down?
I think the TV volume only had.
Oh, hold on. Let me turn up here. Try it again.
all right, can you hear me better now?
Getting better.
All right. So we're looking at replacing some sewer pumps and the drives for the pumps. So we have a little bit of homework to do to meet the deadline, but I did reach out to Unitil, to our liaison over there, and he put me in contact with one of their guys to talk about this, to try to determine the energy savings on whatever we're gonna purchase. But that hasn't happened yet. I haven't met with that gentleman yet, so yeah, I'd like to do it in April, but it's gonna be tight. I don't know if I can get it done in time, but I'll give it a shot.
Hey, Bill, somebody, I don't know, I know you and I spoke a little bit about this, but somebody else mentioned to me that you guys might decide to split that project into two, do the motors 1 year and the drives another? Or
Yeah,
two
that's-
separate projects anyway?
We could do it that way too, yeah.
And see, I don't know what your numbers are gonna be. I'm assuming those motors aren't cheap because your smallest one, if I understand, is 25 horse, and your bigger ones are in the 75 horsepower rating range.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the horsepower are, but yeah. This grant is only up to what, 200,000? So yeah, a couple pumps, we might be there.
Right, yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mm,
But it's a chunk of money anyway that's allows you to allocate it in another direction, especially
Absolutely,
with the issues that you're finding.
absolutely. So yeah, we'd love to get this grant. It would be very beneficial for us.
Okay. Do you have a company that's the company that you gave a quote to? Have you approached them about maybe helping you with the energy efficiency numbers?
I haven't, but that's really not their thing. So I think Unitil will put me in touch with a company that can help with that. So hopefully I hear back from them tomorrow and get that ball rolling.
Okay. All right.
Is there anything else, Bill, that from our end we can help you with getting information, or And, Heather is the one that's, been the nucleus of these applications, I believe, Dave, correct me if I'm wrong, over the past couple of grant cycles.
Yes, yeah.
So she may be able to help you out with any other information you need to get that form filled in.
Okay, yeah,
And I know
definitely use it
she's
as a resource.
She's not too busy right now, but whatever.
No, but yeah, if there's a chance of getting money, she'll help.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. And Chris, I've probably mentioned this, but I'll mention it in the open meeting that Matt had brought it up at our last meeting towards the end of the meeting, that if we could pull a project off, then it gives the rest of the town a year to fully vet projects, and we can hit the ground. We can be waiting for the application period to open with all the information already sitting in a file, ready to just plug it in, hopefully. That's the thought process. The other thing is that the sewer commission has, I'm gonna get it wrong, but they have money, I was gonna call it retained earnings, that is gonna fund this project anyway, so it doesn't have to wait for town meeting. So there's a major plus if we were to bring this proposal forward and then work with other proposals that might have to be appropriated for a year from April.
Right, so this doesn't get awarded, what they say, I forget. April, May, June, June, July, something like that. So it'll be the next fiscal year when we actually do the work and, make the purchase. And we did put money into the budget for pumps. So yeah, we will be ready.
Okay. And the key to this grant is the application period and the deadline for the application. Outside of that, if we get the grant approved, then you've got the money until you spend it. You just can't apply for another one until you've spent it and closed it out.
Yeah.
So.
Yep,
That's why I
so
said if
I'll
there's
give
any
it my
way-
best shot to get the application in on time.
Do we agree here that seems to be the most logical path forward for the next month or two anyway?
Agree. I look at the October grant period as we say, it's a very competitive grant period. They only allocate a certain amount of funds per year, and it's split between the two grant periods. And whatever's left after the spring falls over to the fall grant. And that's what I was worried about, is that the spring grant was one of those that since it's less competitive, it's easier to get approvals through on it. They look at the other projects. They don't hold you under the microscope as much. That's one of the reasons we were trying to do that. And the other one was just to try to get, push things along a little within the town.
If we do have another hybrid cruiser that we could throw $5,000 at, I was thinking that just to spread the wealth a little bit, that we might pull 5,000 from the 200,000 when we put the application in, and
Yes.
put a cruiser and then up to the max for the motors or drives, whichever they decide to submit.
Correct. I like to make sure that we get, because that's almost a no-brainer. The $5,000.
Right.
That's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So I like I said, I wasn't sure if the company sometimes can help with the basically knowing that the motors are supposed. I assume these are all going to be variable speed, variable frequency drives, VFDs.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. And you have to do both the controllers and the motors?
Yeah, eventually we will, yeah.
Bill, that was my question too, what you just asked, Dave. Can you do them as two separate projects, or is there going to be a downside to putting the motors in before you update the drives?
No, we were looking at doing it separate anyway, so it should be all right.
Okay.
All right. I guess all we can do, Bill, is then look to hear more as we go on.
Yeah.
On that. Okay. Hopefully it'll pull off and things like that. All right. Are you needing a new F-150 Lightning for your truck to drive around in yet?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Good luck getting a Ford casting mechanic.
Oh, really? He's not a big fan?
Not Fords now.
Okay. Okay, well, what can I say? Well, I don't think, is Chevy doing the electric yet? Yeah, they're doing the electric, so, okay.
No, they're actually all going away from electric now. GM and Honda just partnered up for hydrogen. BMW is doing it.
Oh.
Toyota is.
I don't think we need a hydrogen plant. Okay, the other thing that we talked, that was out was there is that, I'm gonna skip over a little bit, but there is that, grant available that it was brought up about the, electric charging stations. Has that come across your desk yet, Bill?
I did see it, yeah. Yeah, I didn't put too much thought into it. Sorry.
I know, it's difficult because it's a matter of where we put it, if we were gonna do something. So there's a grant available for electric charging stations for the town. They basically pay for all of the infrastructure. We gotta actually pay for the charger itself. But what the stipulation is, it has to be open for the public.
The library would love to host those charging stations. That's one of the projects that I would love to do at the library. So if the location is something you're looking for, that would be my suggestion. We've got plenty of, I mean, not plenty of parking space, but there's, a good sized lot. Got spots near the building. Presumably you're gonna run off of, where the electricity comes into the facility, and so there are definitely spots close by there.
When they say open to the public, do they mean like a free Tesla supercharger or a pay to use one?
We could do it either way, but I think what they're looking at is more of the pay to use.
Because from a facility standpoint, installing it at the library would be a pretty expensive cost for getting electricity out to the parking, and I'd be looking at payback periods.
Right. So the idea is that Unitil, the grant allows for all of the infrastructure up to the charger. So they run the electricity out to the charger, up, and then it's our responsibility for the pole and the charger.
And then we would be charging for the electricity use at that point to pay it back.
Correct, because I don't think Unitil will be giving it to us for free.
No, I just want to make sure we're not putting chargers in to charge it free and the town never gets the money back.
No, I agree. I agree. That would not be my.
There's another local town that it happened at recently that put a charger in, and the only person that's used the charger so far is the committee member that decided that he wanted it.
Oh, see, now that's an interesting thing to think about now. Okay.
So
Does anybody have the electric car yet? Yeah. Oh, did you have an electric car?
I don't.
Yours is a pickup truck.
Okay.
I've got the form in my computer if you wanted to, ethics commission.
Right. Okay, so I do like the idea of the library. My thoughts were the library and the school were pretty much the two locations that might work, just because of I'm looking at it where somebody wouldn't just be parking overnight just because they live close, or as well as you're having folks who are going to be sitting, like using it up all night. So it became one person's personal charger type of thing. I mean, I know they can still pay for it if they want, but it doesn't take that long to charge the vehicle. And I kind of want them out of there in 2 hours. The idea was, okay, you charge your vehicle for 2 hours, up to 2 hours, and then you leave, type of thing.
You just got to remember that all these charging locations, once they come online, are accessible through an app of some sort. Because I've had friends through the holidays that were traveling through New England and at family gatherings and weren't sure because of the cold weather whether they were going to make it home, and they were looking for charging stations partway in between to make sure they didn't get stranded.
Yes.
So they were pulling in from southern New Hampshire into an area just over the border into Massachusetts to charge definitely enough to get home. That's the issue with these vehicles in New England. You get these batteries into the cold weather and they don't hold the power.
No, that's another concern is what we're seeing in the industry is it looks like the major players are starting to go away from electric. I mean, look at Hertz rental cars selling off 30,000 of their fleet because no one will rent them.
Yeah. As a Hertz president member, I hated the things because you had to, on the way home, you had to find a charger. That was the problem.
Yeah.
You know, the
It's
gas
not like
ones.
you go to the gas station,
Yeah,
fill
well,
up in a minute.
right. There is that gas station at the airport. Granted, it's $7 a gallon, but
Yeah.
it's not my money. It's my time that I'm sitting at that charging station that matters more when I want to get a flight. Yes.
There was an article recently somewhere, I don't know where I saw it, but out there in the Midwest when they had the deep freeze.
Yeah.
It may have even been Texas for that matter. But anyway, it chronicled a particular person that was in a situation where the batteries were critically low on the vehicle, and the building that he usually went into while his vehicle was charging was closed when he got there, and it's below zero. So he's sitting in his car with it running with the heat on and trying to charge. He was there for 4.5 hours and he got a 10% charge or
Yeah.
something like
No.
that. You know, so this I don't know, this whole thing is.
Well, okay. So it's a matter of, I mean, we can look into this. This is really not, you know, it's kind of something that was offered it's offered up by the state. They're looking for places to put this. Obviously, the idea is that with the present infrastructure in Massachusetts, it's not leading to people wanting to get electric cars. So they're looking to have municipalities put in more places. So I'll send you the information on it. Take a look. I did quite a bit of details showing different charging, the part that we would have to pay for and the costs they are. But there is for that, something like that. That's English somewhere. And you can go from there. But you can go anywhere from, like, say, a $2,000 charger all the way up to like $7,000 was a dual charger with the fancy pole and all that stuff. With the and where you can actually put advertising on it too. So if you want to get somebody who sponsors that charger, you can make even more money for the library. So
All right.
okay.
Dave, I'm assuming that covers just the unit itself. That doesn't include a paying system that's, I would assume, is on top of that with credit cards or whatever. Because I would assume you're going to pay a fee for that processing.
Correct. Some of them are from companies that do that type of charge. So they actually are the ones that will manage the whole payment process.
Yeah, so purchase of the equipment is part of that contract, is processing the
Correct.
payments. And stuff.
Correct. But I'm sure there's a fee for that, and it's a matter of if the fee is just based on per use, or if it's a flat fee.
They probably charge it like any other credit card, hit you with 3%.
Yeah, which is fine. Which is fine. I mean, I'm looking at it more as we're offering a service, and if somebody wants to use it, fine. If not, I mean, I don't know how many electric vehicles there are even in this whole town. Because looking at the community at large, I don't know how many electric vehicles in this town, per se. You know, because you have one?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Can I?
Yeah, oh, definitely.
Okay,
Sorry.
So,
I'm sorry, I don't do a formal meeting, so you just speak up whenever you feel like it.
perfect. So I remember when the police chief with Jim Marino first started looking at them, they talked about having a charging station at the public safety. Do we know if they have a charging station there?
They do not.
They do not, yeah.
So
And truth be told, electrically, we are not playing with the public safety building. That building is a nightmare electrically to begin with.
come right off the road, wouldn't you?
It would have to come out of the transformer that's coming into the building. And the building is struck by lightning once a week.
Okay, but
We have constant issues over there, and any electrical issues, Lunenburg Public Safety Building is actually the backup for Neshoba Dispatch. So just anything that would strain that more, you got to be very careful with. There's also, after 3:00, not much access for anyone to go sit inside, because it's just a lobby.
well, it just has to be available to the public, doesn't it? I mean, wouldn't it make sense to have it at the primary use? I mean, we've got a few electric cruisers now.
Well, they're actually all hybrids.
So they like charge themselves.
So they'll recharge, it's just
Oh.
gas and recharge yourself.
Okay,
But
interesting.
full electric as an emergency vehicle is tough, because
Yeah.
if someone calls 911 in cold weather, sorry, we'll get there once we're charged,
My bad.
I think the library would probably, if we did do it, the library would be a better spot. You're right on 2A, we have it. you know, the visibility of it.
So like the charging station would mostly be for people passing through, then it kind of sounds, since the town doesn't have any electric vehicles, most people in town probably don't have any, it would just be like a extra, maybe if someone needs it.
Drawing people from towns around here to our wonderful library. How's that?
At 3 in the morning.
Oh, I mean, that's the issue. It's one of those, it's nice to have. However, it would be interesting to know how much it would get used by the townspeople themselves, right? You know, more than anything else. It's not like you would be, I thought about the schools because it could be a teacher or 4 that might sit there all day and have that vehicle charge. It's kind of an extra perk to the job. But that would actually have to be on my dime, not their dime, but, yeah.
Maybe it's worth putting out some kind of survey to the town to see how much interest there is from residents,
Okay,
as to see if it's
Do
worth
that
it.
with our Facebook page.
Mhm.
okay.
Yeah, now that we have that Facebook page. I haven't looked at it real close. I've just clicked on it a couple times. How many people you have actively on there, you know?
There's always like more views coming in every day.
Mhm.
Let's see.
So,
We have 12 followers, but probably at least 100 people have looked at it. But the posts are really popular. Because I post them on like the other Facebook groups.
God, I tell you, Dave, if we start some controversy on it, then they'll start following.
19 people looked at my last post.
Okay,
Okay, and that's early. I mean,
Yeah.
when did you launch that? A month and a half ago?
February 3rd.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
yeah. not
It's been a
even-
month.
And then I have I was waiting to get a good picture of the streetlights. I have that ready now that we've like sorted through all the details. So
Okay.
we will get even more views.
Not to get off the subject, but very quickly, I just have to mention something that bugs me every time I drive to breakfast and I see the streetlights are still on. Poles here, the lights here. The ground coverage is here on every single pole. It's not
It's not
lined
on the
up with the
street?
pole. Well, they're on the road, but they don't line up with the pole. I just don't, I don't understand why the ground coverage is off to one side on every single one of them.
It's angled. Like the pole's here, but the light kind of comes like out at an angle. Is that what you're saying?
The pattern on the ground. Your pole is here, your pattern is over here.
I think they did it on purpose, just to mess with your OCD.
yeah,
In some cases, it works out great because the pole is on the corner of an intersection and it casts the light over to the intersection. But on other places, it's just seems like it doesn't belong there.
okay. So Bill, have you got any comments on the streetlights since they've been installed?
I haven't got any calls on them, no.
Okay,
That's
Well,
good.
you might because I'm gonna put your phone number on the Facebook. And the link too, so maybe you'll get more.
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
And I took a couple of pictures last night. I don't know how good they are, but I can email them to you.
Do you agree with me, Bill, that the pattern is if you're looking at the pole from the street, almost all the patterns are just to the left of the pole on the ground?
You know, I didn't stop like right at the pole. Like I stopped away from it to try to take the picture. But
Yeah.
I'll have to take a look. I'll be there tomorrow
Now
night.
you
I'll
get-
take a look.
I was gonna say, now we're all gonna be looking at these things, trying to figure out. The other thing I'm wondering is, has anybody ever seen them dimmed? So they dim at midnight till 5.
Go out and take a picture.
I've tried to stay up past midnight just to take a picture,
Yeah.
but
I'm not working through to 11 anymore. So
Yeah.
I don't see it.
So because that was another savings for us, was to have them dim in the middle of the night. So,
One was missed, one streetlight, I think, at 554 Flat Hill Road. It's like down their driveway, but it's like a whole arm. I mean, I couldn't imagine they own that. Like it's the whole arm situation. It's like that deep orange light. Those are the old ones, right?
There are several that are in town that are privately owned that weren't. There's
Yeah,
actually some of the town owns that weren't included, like Wallace Park has lights that weren't included.
Off of the road.
Yeah, there's one out in front of Ritter Building that has a light that wasn't included because it was not a Unitil pole,
Mhm.
so.
Okay, so maybe, yeah, this one, I mean, it could be owned by them, but I don't know.
Well, there was a time you can do that. You can buy a street light from Unitil.
Oh, okay.
And I think we got sucked into having those as part of the town now, some of those.
Yeah.
Like, I can't see why there's there's 5 lights by Keating. There's 3, as soon as you get underneath the bridge, there's like 3 lights in that one curve. And then there's no lights for like another half a mile. So I don't think
Those went in after multiple, you're talking about on the town side of the bridge?
yes.
Yeah, those went in after multiple accidents back in the sixties and seventies,
Oh, okay.
with cars driving into the bridge abutment and so on and so
Well,
forth.
they shouldn't be going that. It's only supposed to be at 25 on that road.
Yeah, well, when we have vehicles hitting the abutments at 60 miles an hour, there's something wrong.
Right, so we got to basically help people from their own stupidity.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Sounds
it's
like the
been,
Wile E. Coyote thing, where it paints a tunnel on the wall.
Yes. Yes. Okay. All right. All right. Not a problem. So, hey, by the way, the other one, Bill, is I'm just trying to get some new signs. Just of Lunenburg as a green commit, we're a green community. So I might hit you up if I get those. I put them on the same spot as they put the right to farm. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we had
there was
2.
one. Mhm.
We had 2, but for some reason they're missing somewhere. One used to be in the library display cabinet. I guess I should ask while I'm here sometime, but that's probably. Oh, do you guys have a storage room in here from things that might have been in the library display cabinet?
I don't know that we have a designated area. I could take a peek in a couple different spots. If you want to, why don't you come by sometime? We can look together.
Okay.
If
Perfect.
you remember what it looks like, that might help. But
Okay. Well, I'm gonna have to go by another community to see what it looks like from.
see what it looked like. Okay. Yeah.
It's been
not
a
something
long,
that I've noticed,
time
but-
since I've seen one of those signs. So I figured we might as well do that. Okay. All right. Was any? I mean, I don't want to keep you guys too long if I don't have. But is there any key topics that were in your mind? Your thoughts here?
Well, for me, there are two other projects that are kind of big projects. And Chris, I'm sure, has more info than I do. The first is for the library, the HVAC, which is on the capital plan. And from the trustees' perspective, one of the big goals for that is efficiency, and obviously with the audit coming, I think that'll be some good information. But I don't know if there are other ways that we can the committee can help with that process. But wanted to start that conversation with you guys. And the other thing is, talked with Chris about that too, but the solar panels, if the library was a candidate for that, the trustees would love that too. And
Okay.
so the other component of the HVAC, before I forget, we did do a quick, well, it wasn't that quick, was it, Chris? But we talked with a contractor about heat pumps, both going entirely electric, but also for the room you guys are in right now and the community room,
Yes.
which have kind of some issues with the HVAC system. Some for obvious reasons, but also some that are maybe a little less obvious why it happens. But that on a smaller scale for just those 2 spaces could also be a real benefit, I think. And that was something that we had talked about as a green communities possible project.
So just to give you a heads up, basically the state is loving the mini splits, the heat pumps.
Yeah, loving it.
Okay. And I do agree that these 2 rooms, this area on this side would be fantastic for a heat pump. Because to me, it's just, you're looking at one system with just 2 blowers, probably to do this, to do these 2 rooms, and to have the individual controls would be fantastic, as long as you're not letting the public touch them. You're okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Because yes, we've experienced it here a couple of times where we felt like we needed to open a window, only to realize that the window was open already, and things like that a couple of months ago.
Doesn't
But
surprise
that
me.
I'm with you. So that's something. I mean, I definitely would welcome that as a project
Okay.
for that.
So if we were to do that, what do you need from me, and how can we kind of stay on that?
Basically, it's going to be somebody giving. I would look that you would be able to work with a contractor that could not only just give you a quote, be able to fill out the paperwork that says, okay, it's using this. The
Yep.
new system would use this, and what is the ROI?
Okay.
Okay. The form is pretty basic. It mainly what it talks about is that you would have a calculation for what amount of electricity you use now, or whatever fuel you're using,
Mhm.
and then there'll be a calculation for how much you think the mini split would use,
Mhm.
and then it just rolls out the rest of the formula,
Okay.
what the ROI is, and all that, and all that stuff. So I can send the form out too for that.
And
Okay.
the numbers we got from the original contractor were, in my opinion, astronomical.
Yeah,
So,
really expensive.
Yeah, even with the rebates that they added on,
Yep.
there was, I think there are several layers of people getting paid in the process. So I'm working on getting quotes from other contractors for several buildings. And the
Okay.
energy audits are gonna help push that along for
I'm sure.
what we can do rebate wise.
Great.
The
And so
the reason these rooms tend to be an issue is anytime there's a meeting room,
Yeah.
they always struggle with maintaining temperature. Because not so much this room, but the community room is designed to have, call it 40 or 50 people in there. When there's not 40 or 50 people, the HVAC system is going to short cycle because the thermostat will say it got cold quick enough and it won't pull humidity, and it's a constant issue.
so
That's why. Go ahead. Go
Would
ahead.
there
I'm
be-
sorry.
would we need to come up with funding? What do you?
Depends on how much the system was and
Okay.
what other things we were doing at the time.
Right.
So there'll be a rebate from Unitil.
Yep.
There'll be, and then mostly the Green Community Grant would look to take most of it. But it's a
Okay.
matter of when we do it and what we can do,
Got it.
type of thing. I mean,
Okay.
I'd love to be able to have over $200,000 worth of projects, and then having everybody pick and choose what they felt was the most critical. That would be amazing for us right now.
Dave,
Great.
one issue here that we need to, at least I need squared up in my head. My understanding is that if we max out to 200,000 in April, going forward, we're reduced to 100,000 maximum. Because we've brought in over, what
the
is it?
cap? There's a cap where they
There's
lower
a
you.
cap before it, and you get bumped down in the maximum that you can apply for in the grants. 800 or 900,000. Once you break that threshold, then we're dropped to 100,000 per cycle.
All right, I'm gonna have to ask Kelly again, but the way she did it was that I can get 1 grant per year up to 200K now.
Yeah, I thought it was until you've hit. I thought the number was 600, is what was sticking in my head. Once you've received 600,000 in grants, it does bump you to that lower level. Was also my understanding.
So, these are the little things that we need to know ahead of time. I mean, it's fine for us to be looking at $1 million worth of projects, but we need to know whether we're able to get 100,000 or 200,000 maximum, and then we can decide how to either divvy it up or apply where it makes the most sense to partial fund a project
Well, and if that's the
or
case,
smaller projects.
when we have a project that we can't hit 200 in one shot, let's use it now before we are reduced to that 100 number.
Right, and that's why I was pushing forward with the sewer, because it's gonna be well over 200,000. They're gonna have to pull from their earnings to cover the rest of it.
Okay, so if that's, I mean, I understand, and that would be fantastic, because I know the next one would be the other half of the mini splits at the school too. Would have been a prime one, also, which should be a prime one also.
Yeah, I don't know what they're,
I'm
gonna stay out of that conversation.
I understand. I'm with you on that one. Okay.
The only other thing I wanted to make a comment about is, going forward, we need to make sure when we're talking about mini split projects that we're calculating, no matter what we're actually going to do, we're calculating for heating and cooling. not just one or the other in the
Correct.
calculations.
Yeah.
Whether we choose to do both or not after they're installed, that's up to the way you as this facilities manager runs them. But for grant purposes, it's heat and cooling.
Wasn't weatherization a part of that as well? You needed to either add weatherization or have the assessment indicate you don't need to add anymore. So it might be a part.
I think it was in there, and that's part of why we're working to get those done now, so we
Yeah.
can get all those answers.
The other thing is that there's a lot more money headed this way. I just can't get a handle on when the state's gonna actually apply to the federal government, because I'm getting emails every day from DOE saying that, oh, this state has completed their application process and these states have been awarded, $2.3 billion towards energy efficiency, and Massachusetts hasn't applied for that yet.
Oh,
Okay,
Okay.
so that's DOER, the local entity.
yes, DOER.
Yeah, I spoke to a Jane, somebody or another.
Okay,
And she says, basically what she told me was that they were waiting for some other states to get through the application process so that they could get copies of their paperwork, so they didn't have to reinvent the wheel.
that sounds like the reason it took us 10 years to do the streetlights.
Exactly,
Yeah, okay.
exactly.
Just do it, you know?
Yeah.
In fact,
And Kelly's aware of all of that too.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
we could keep asking her, where's that stand at this point? And what do we need to do to be ready when the state does get their act together and start the program? I did kind of get a feel that a lot of the money is gonna be pumped into Mass Save
yes,
when it does come into the state from the federal government.
yes.
So we're gonna have to see if we're gonna be able to access it through that or not.
Okay. All right. So let me find out from Kelly about that cap, because I didn't know about that, but I don't really read the fine print too often. Just like I don't read the instructions ever. So, okay. All right.
Never mind.
I
We'll go
know,
there.
I know.
I do the same thing until it won't work.
Okay. All right. Anything special on your side, or you just came to?
I just came because I said it would, and because I think we were gonna talk about the solar bylaw.
Cool. No. I'm with you. I just was making sure I wasn't, at a thing, because I was going to give you guys, if you don't have more questions, I kind of got an idea of where you guys are at. Biggest thing for us is if we can have a project ready for the next grant round, great. If not, we're going to be pushing for October, and well, we'll have to be deciding on whether we push for October or wait around
I
again.
think we don't even think in that direction right now. Bill, as he said, will do the best he can to
Correct.
make sure this happens, and I know Paul is working on it.
Yes.
So on that end of it, everybody is very much aware. And I think if you get firm dates from Kelly as to application deadline dates, once they decide when it's gonna be, then that's gonna be a target date that we're all gonna have to be shooting for. Once the application's in, most of the work, all the work's done.
Yeah.
It's getting that form filled out. And Chris, you sent Bill the form that basically gives you an idea as to whether a project is applicable or not.
Yeah, it's just a spread. There's a
Yeah,
spreadsheet.
Can you send that to Chris if he hasn't?
I don't
done it?
know if I have it, and I was gonna give you guys this, and then I realized, close your ears, Muir, that when I printed this out at the library, the list of projects got cut off. So I'll just resend this to you guys tomorrow when I,
Okay, perfect.
Yeah,
And
the whole
and I'll
list.
respond back with the Excel.
Yep.
For that.
because it's, some of these projects are way out, but at least if you guys know what we have on our capital list coming down the pike,
Yep.
and if we find a grant sooner, that's gonna pay for part of it, I think we have a shot at convincing capital to reorder some of them, and,
Okay.
because this building and public safety are both 20 years old this year.
We having a celebration? Okay. I'm still looking for that bonfire when we burned down the Brooks house, guys. I think that would be the best bonfire this town's ever had. Best use of the
It'd be a
Brooks
big
house that we could find.
I cannot confirm or deny.
No comment.
Yeah.
I know.
Dave, the other thing too, and we've talked about this many times, when John Londa moved on,
Yes.
he was the guy that knew all the mechanics of this whole process.
Yes.
And a lot of the projects were in the school, so he was the one doing all that legwork. I know I've already heard a little bit of frustration and, okay, yeah, it makes sense what you're telling us, but what do we need to do to get there? Because everybody we're talking to at this point has never done this process.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if there's a webinar or a booklet or anything that Kelly has that would help the folks that are getting involved with it now to understand what the steps are. Even these federal grants that are coming through DOE to DOER, DOE sends 3 times a month an email with documents on how to do this and how to fill this out, and this information is needed. And I don't open them all because it would just bury me trying to figure it out, and I'm not involved in that process. But
Okay.
you know,
All right. I kind of remember some things, but let me see if I can point if there's some spots on the website. I think it's all in wording, but the wording is not clear. And then, but the Excel, like I say, the Excel kind of fills in things for you.
mhm.
So there is a tutorial on the Excel. Here, hold on. Bear with me.
But like I said, having somebody that understands the process, and as simple as knowing that if you're going for mini splits, it needs to be submitted for heat and heat and cooling. There's, I'm sure, little idiosyncrasies to electric motor replacements, what you need to highlight to make it more feasible that you're gonna get the money.
I know one of the big things with the mini splits is they want integrated controls, which is, truth be told, one of our biggest challenges, because the only building in town that has any real control system is a public safety building.
Right.
And it's, integrating controls can get very costly because it's, if they're gonna actually check, it's the same thing you said with whether you use it for heating or cooling or not. For us to shut off, like say we put mini splits in the community room, for us to shut off the other heating system is a bigger project than it is to put the mini splits in.
Right.
So,
Something else that just kicked into my mind, it was mentioned at MMA in a couple of workshops. Does anybody know if any geothermal testing has been done in this area to see if the ground
I don't think
conditions are feasible?
I think the guy who built the house behind me was talking about putting one in. I don't know if he ever did.
Yeah, because there's again, big money coming out for new municipal buildings run on geothermal.
That means we have to build a building now.
Full electrification.
I don't think that's happening too quickly in this right now, but that's okay. Would you agree?
Seems to be the case.
All right.
We gotta tear down 3 first.
So the other thing there is available, and unfortunately we got the grant one round, but it was between facilities directors, DPW directors, school facilities, and everything else, and it just expired. It expired. So there is a class on the heat systems and the building integration systems that the state runs. Is it something you would be interested in?
Yeah, I mean, send me the information. I'd be happy to take a look at it, and
All right.
if it makes sense, it's just never hurts to have more training.
Exactly. And same thing, Bill. I would do this, well, actually, no, I'm sorry. I would send it to Eric as well. So we had gotten 2 grants, and unfortunately, I opened it up, and as I said, we went through a couple of folks. You weren't on board, and there was nobody was volunteering to take the classes at that time. So I mean, speaking to John, that's why he learned a lot from these classes that the state had. So I'll send the information. I don't know how often it's done, but I'll send the information to you. And the last time we had gotten on a grant round.
Yep.
But I don't know if we're going to be able to do that again if we have, especially with how far 200K is going to get us.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Any other questions on the grants? All right. I'm gonna, Matt, if you want to go in, we can go into the solar bylaw if you'd like, and I'll let you guys, if you want to you know, sit in, you can sit in. If not,
If you don't mind, I have dinner sitting on the table for since
Oh,
before I left
yeah,
the
me
house.
too.
it's jealous, but that's okay. If you guys want to stay in, feel free to stay in. If not, you know, we thank you for the time, and you know, let us know whatever you need. We're here to help.
All right. Thank you back.
All right.
Yep, thank you, Dave. I'm signing off.
Yep.
You got it. I
Yeah,
figured I'd
too.
give you some of your evening back.
Good night.
Position in town too would
Yes.
help with these things.
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, definitely.
Right.
If Chris is stepping out, I need to step out with him for just a second.
Oh, be that way. All right. All right.
You have a quorum. I'm within earshot. so
Okay.
you're still
Oh,
on the
okay.
floor.
All right. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate you coming in.
I'll shoot you that list tomorrow.
Okay. Thanks.
And if I don't, feel free to bug me because tomorrow's an insane day to be.
Same here. This is insane month for me. So. All right.
So I don't know a whole lot. I just tonight got my first glimpse at the draft bylaw, and it's 12 pages. I got to page 10 before I came here.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
Is it the bylaw that's, it's like 254? I was just trying to look it up. Like,
Could
the
be.
current one.
do you have Google Drive access to planning board?
I don't know if I can access it.
I don't know how far that's gotten.
I don't know. I just have it up because I was looking at it and I think this is the one. So I was just sure.
Okay,
I don't have like the draft though.
so you're looking at a 12-page PDF?
No, I'm just on like the internet.
Okay, okay, yeah, it's probably not publicized yet because it was information for our meeting on Monday.
Yeah.
I'm honestly not sure what kind of coordination we can do. It's basically, have you heard about the situation?
With the energy storage guy?
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so you're aware.
That's my ZBA hat. You know,
Okay.
come on, you know the
Yeah.
thing. You have to be.
Oh,
on,
yeah,
you got to be
yeah.
on 7 committees in this town. How many more you joining?
I joined the master plan steering committee.
Okay.
And then Tony asked me to join the agricultural preservation. I'm like, I can't. I do too much in my life.
Right,
So
right.
like, I need a limit. I can't do more than 2.
I understand, Lou. All right, hold on. Okay.
But yeah.
I should, since that it's my meeting, I must be in the picture. Okay. Okay. All right. So, you know, we'd be interested in just hearing. I don't know how, you know, we can give a couple of cents, but I'm not sure how much input you guys are looking for in this document.
Okay, I'm not sure we would have, aside from, she was here for the appointment, the reassignment, I guess,
Yeah.
and stayed on to listen and had some comments at the end and
Yeah.
yeah, so I honestly don't know.
Okay.
I know that is the one thing that we need to get on the warrant. We've got 3 other bylaws that some other people were interested in trying to get, but I don't think we have the bandwidth.
No, I understand. And I mean, my vote on the energy story, I mean, I don't, personally, I've not seen much issue with it. It's just a matter of how making sure it's not in my, you know, trying to make it so it's not in my backyard type of thing. You know, trying to avoid the not in my backyard thing, I should say.
So it's similar to the solar bylaw that we have for the panels, as far as locations, and there are allowances for, you know, residential EV charging.
Okay.
Right, so that's the small, this one has 3 groups instead of 2. Should I wait for them? Probably should.
Yeah, probably Dave has more comments than I do. Right. So that's that's the only issue in the panels is I believe there should be 3 categories in panels.
Yeah.
You know, I feel terrible for the person who owns, you know, 10 acres, under 20 acres.
Yeah.
And wants to do something.
Yeah.
You know, and unfortunately, we know it's not my backyard thing.
And not only that, it's currently, we've got a nameplate and it should be footprint.
Correct.
What's
Yes.
the nameplate?
So kilowatt, we go by kilowatt.
Oh, like the 10 kilowatt.
So the 10 kilowatt
Yeah.
is separated from small to large, and we don't have a medium. There's no in between.
Right.
Right.
My system at my house is bigger than 10 kilowatt.
We don't regulate roof.
Oh, okay. So that's just the ground mounted.
So your roof
ones.
system is more than 10?
They put a lot of panels in my house. I have like 50 panels. It's
Wow.
Crazy, yeah. It's
Well-
expensive if I want to replace my roof. I have to pay them to take it down. So no new roof for me, but I do get a lot of power. which is nice.
Can you use, are you even using it all?
Yeah, I run the pool filter and
365?
no, don't like the summer. Over the winter, it just like, you just use it. You use it all. Like, I don't know. I don't use any electric stuff. Like I have a pellet stove and gas, like, and oil. I'm not adding any electric stuff because like I have the world's biggest like roof mounted panels, yet I do not have an overabundance of electric and it's just me. So I don't know.
they're just such old panels.
No, they're 3 years. No, they're like, these are working really well. I don't know.
Do you have the little app that tells you how you're doing?
Yeah.
So you should be like having Unitil owe you money every year.
Yeah, well, after this year, so there was a 3-month period right during like the early spring into summer where they stopped working for a couple of months. So I lost a bunch of
Okay.
kilowatt hours there. And then I ran like a heater too much this winter, so I ran out. But maybe next year I'll have like way extra. But yeah, I don't really pay. I always have credits for Unitil.
Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so so that at least that's just for ground mounted ones because I was like, I'm not income client.
Okay, so just as we got into the topic of the solar bylaws.
Yeah.
And yeah, that's the thing, is I'd like to see it'd be great if we could have a medium, something with medium on the ground mount world,
I think the board agrees with you as well.
right? And I think it brought up too much controversy because even as the ZBA, we would look at things and go, ooh, okay, that looks okay, and throw it over to you guys. And then, we've had a couple of those, right? With the guy had 13 acres. He's putting it somewhere that nobody would see it just because it was that not in my backyard thing.
Oh, yeah.
It
I
was-
can't put 26 panels in my backyard on Whiting Street and put them up 27 feet in the air.
Well, no, the worst part is if you do under 10K ground mount, that you're gonna want to put it as far as it is out of your property, but right on your neighbor's lawn, neighbor's property line.
Yeah.
And so they're staring at it because the panels are facing their house. So that I have more issues with than the other way around.
My neighbor just took all his trees down that were shading my panels. I am ecstatic.
Okay. All right. So I'm with you with that. And the energy storage part, I mean, that's a tough one because I understand what they're for, and I'm trying to understand what the fear is and the environmental impact of this. It's just basically a bank of lithium batteries at this point. I don't know. I don't know what the thought is on the planning board side on that one.
We haven't really spent a lot of time discussing them. Like I said, we just got the draft.
Right.
So we'll have a heavy dive into it on Monday, but
Okay.
there was concern about, the recent stories about the Teslas catching on fire, and the best they can do is push them off the side of the road and let them burn.
Right.
There's no extinguishing, apparently. We brought that up initially, and we were told that the units themselves are in like a container, like a cargo container kind
Correct.
of thing.
Correct.
And it's self-contained, I guess.
Correct. Yeah.
But the bylaw is very specific about safety. It requires police and fire sign off and this draft.
Okay.
I mean, it's like I said, it's very similar to the first solar as far as the requirements of all the signs.
Okay.
Security. They got 500-foot setbacks and whatnot, but
Why do people want these battery backups? Is it so when they can use energy off peak, like when?
I'm not sure.
Okay, so it's a little bit of both. One is that if you've ever seen what your Unitil energy looks like, it is not very clean. So if you're doing delicate machinery,
Yes.
it's kind of like a UPS. Yeah, think of it as a UPS. It's basically, that's the easiest way to explain it. It provides cleaner power during peak hours, and then it could be during peak hours. I'll just leave it at that.
So
So-
if their business is something that needs that clean of a power? Like, what are they-
Well, it could be anything. Like if you wanted to run if you have machinery
Yeah.
that is going to worry about it, it's going to make a lot less maintenance on your machinery. So they're going to be charging folks for this power versus regular Unitil power. That's my assumption. I haven't heard their speech in front of the zoning board yet, So
Yeah,
I'll wait for that one.
curious.
And also what I understood recently was that, we don't have, because we're Unitil, it's just a straight fee kilowatt per kilowatt. Whereas if we had a municipal like Groton, it was a comment that I saw recently, like Groton, they do, peak and off-peak
Correct,
pricing. So that wouldn't make any difference here as far as I can see.
correct, right.
Um,
It's mainly, like I said, just to give it clean power, and then if a company had it where they're worried about a Unitil going, like a power loss, they would still have a little bit of backup. But it's, with that many batteries, if you're gonna run anything large, you're still not gonna have much,
Yeah.
a lot of time.
I wonder if, I'm curious, because Townsend, Unitil put in battery like backups in Townsend for when the power goes out. And then down in the South Shore, I was reading an article about it. During a power outage, like they had Unitil batteries that powered the town.
Oh,
I don't know if that's something, if they ever brought that here, would that interfere with people's private like battery? I don't know if it would, just.
I didn't even know that Unitil even did anything nice to people. Okay.
Sometimes.
They're not
Yeah.
losing money on it for sure.
No, I know.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, right, anything, nothing is 100% efficient, right? So they're still it's gonna cost some power to create this power. I don't think they're putting up a bank of solar panels to power these batteries. It's just basically, to my understanding, it was just an energy storage
So
facility.
that's what the bylaw is for, because that's the proposal. It's just a standalone battery.
Right.
And so the bylaw allows for these in conjunction with panels, but,
Also,
Oh, okay,
use
so
it
you could
from
do that.
the-
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if I put up a solar farm, if I paid and did like my, the old driving range type of small little solar farm like that one, I could have these battery backups on there?
yeah, I guess so, yeah.
Okay.
So is this just for like businesses, or would it be residential as well if somebody wanted to add batteries that pulled from the grid?
So the small was generally for residential use and specifically, and again, this is just a draft bylaw and I'm going from memory of a really quick
I
review.
understand. No,
Um,
recording yourself.
I know, I'm used to that, so, yeah, it's,
Residential.
oh yes, the smaller residential, the small, medium and large. So the small typically was residential application for EV charging. The medium and the large, they have sizable setbacks. Right now, they're both at 500 feet from a residence.
Okay.
So, I think that anything beyond the small would not be like a residential,
Right.
like a living space use. It'd be more of a commercial industrial type thing. But that's just my speculation, and again, we're gonna be looking at this, and any of these numbers are gonna change. There was a requirement for pads, there was a minimum spacing end to end of 7 feet, and a minimum spacing parallel 10 feet. And that can be increased for the requirement of the fire department for access. They specified a 7-foot fence, which sounded a little odd, but
Yeah, that's like a weird number.
bylaws.
If there is like a fire, I don't know, their container thing, like would they have to hold some sort of insurance for environmental cleanup?
There was a bond requirement and it couldn't exceed 125% of the estimated removal cost. But there are, and so it goes, and this is very similar to our panel bylaw. Our first solar bylaw is that there's a requirement for some kind of funds set available to cover if the person does not remove them.
Right.
Like a surety, like they get with the land developments and stuff. And the medium and the large required concrete pad. Or the difference between the medium and the large was up to 10,000 square feet, which is a quarter acre, is the medium.
Okay.
Under a quarter acre is medium, and over a quarter acre is large.
Is this the solar panel farm?
This is just batteries.
This is just batteries.
Just batteries. Apparently, they come in a container. Yes, I don't know.
That's a quarter of an acre big?
No, that would be multiple, that would be
Right.
multiple
So
containers.
you know, you'll have like the 40-foot metal containers
Yeah,
filled with batteries.
So almost look like a storage facility kind of thing, but they're
Yeah.
gonna, like I said, they have 7 foot end minimum spacing. And they have 10 feet parallel spacing, so it's gonna be like these big, it's gonna,
Whole bunch of mini warehouses.
yep,
wow.
possibly. I mean. we don't know.
I think that's what, I'm trying to remember how many that was proposed in the plan that the guy submitted.
I don't think I've even seen a plan.
I thought he had a plan in that. I don't know. It's one of those, you know, he's postponed himself basically based on us doing the
Yeah.
bylaw.
Yeah, so the day after.
Right, right. Okay, okay. No, I'm good with that. So, yeah, that would be the only thing. And the other side of things, so, and I think 500 feet is longer than is more than we have today on the bylaw. Because for some reason, the number 200 feet or something like that racked my brain on the large systems before.
I don't know, I've dealt with so many setbacks. I think the largest one we have is 1,000 feet for marijuana.
Okay,
And then there are various setbacks for residential uses in commercial districts and in general, and just in residential districts as well.
okay.
I don't.
Solar setback 200 feet.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, okay. That if that got increased, I would be excited because that was like one of the big beefs, right? People 200 feet you can see.
Right.
More than that, it becomes what are you looking at?
Right.
Yeah, I
type of
think
thing.
we should look into making that bigger with the revision.
So I think what we're gonna be hard pressed to be able to nail this, just the batteries down to add
Yes.
for this town meeting. Because we've already advertised the public hearing on the 25th, and we haven't even looked at the draft as a group.
Okay.
I think the battery one is more important to do because we don't have one and we need to if we want to control anything. The solar one, I mean, we don't have anything really popping up right now, right? Like,
Right,
that's
and
gonna impact the game.
Not today, but I mean, we've had them in the past with just,
Yeah.
you know, you had the residential that fell into that gray area, right? I have 10 acres or I have even 7 acres. Why can't I do something type of thing? And I understand. I'd like to be able to say to somebody, yes, you can. However,
Yeah.
okay, it's 500 feet or whatever the number is, because I'm looking at it as if my neighbor is clearing, you know, if they could see 500 feet into my yard.
Right, but right now they don't allow for ground mounted residential.
They do up to
Oh.
10K though.
Oh,
So-
yeah, but who's gonna do that?
well,
It's kinda silly.
they do also more than 10K, but you have to have more than 20 acres.
Right.
Yeah.
And that,
Okay.
that limited you to how many houses, but yeah,
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, I've seen other towns with ground mounted residential and there wasn't 20 acres, so.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And, you know, there needs to be some kind of reasonable thing there. I understand if I have, you know, 2 acres, I can't take an acre and put panels all over it. However, if you tell me it has to be even the 200 feet on that, it limits the amount of people can do. My thought was it was that whatever the size of the system is, it had to be double that. So, you know, if your system is 100 feet wide, you had to have 200 feet on each side, and the same way that way. Because what that did is it prevents anybody from ever expanding their system. So they can put one system up and never, you know, be able to make it big, you know, decide to make it bigger. I think that was one of the fears of the ones they had on Chase Road, was that the guy would put it up and then make it bigger and bigger and bigger. Well, you know, they allowed him to do that because it was only 200 feet. So he could keep going the other way. You know, I don't know how people would feel about, like I say, the one in Lancaster, which is, I think he's got like 40 acres worth of panels by the time you're done with it. Because it goes all the way behind the old driving range, all the way back to Route 70, pretty much behind the industrial park there.
Isn't there like a 6 megawatt cap on the individual area?
I'm not sure if they have that. I mean, I don't know.
Huh?
I don't know. But
I thought there was.
yeah, but 6 megawatts, that's a lot of power. Let's just say as a Lancaster resident, I would hope on my bill is like nothing, you know, after that. Okay. All right. So that just, if there's any input you want from us, I think you got a feel. We're just looking at it as, you know, I think we'd like to see something. We'll support whatever you guys want to do. the biggest thing for myself, personally, more myself or as a green thing, is providing, eventually getting something in the bylaw for the mid-size system to help the residents of Lunenburg more than anything else.
Yeah,
And I think you guys agree now,
we do.
right? It's more like, if you wanted to put up 30 kilowatts and all it was doing was like an annuity for the rest of, for your, for yourself. That's, to me, it's like, go ahead, go
Yeah.
for it, type of thing.
Would putting up those require like a permit?
Yeah.
And approval from departments?
Sure, you're gonna have to go through the whole process. You're gonna have to go through the planning board, the police, the fire, everything like that.
I think the small scale for the residential, I think that might be a by right, but
That's by right,
they would,
yes.
they would still need to. And again, we're still in draft stage, so we can change, we can make something by right, or we can make a special permit. From what I remember, it was fairly detailed in the process and steps, and if this, then that, and if that, then this. And so there were other requirements for a special permit or site plan approval. And then, of course, when you get over an acre of disturbance, then it requires a stormwater permit. So, I mean, there's a litany of different things that kick in when you get bigger and bigger.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of concerned with, like if someone clears like a mass amount of land to put these up, like how does that impact stormwater? I mean, there aren't any permits or things that assess like I don't know, wildlife impact. I don't know, that's like, I don't know, I think we have a lot of like wildlife in the area, when people be clearing stuff, and it brings it more into people's, I don't know, residential areas, so.
So
I don't think that's a green thing, that's just.
we'd really like to encourage reuse of this currently disturbed land rather than virgin forests and
Right.
and agricultural areas and vistas. And we do kind of incentivize it. But and there are other, some limited project status, such as like the Unitil got down at Whalen Park because they were utilizing an area that was already disturbed. So they got a lot of
Yes.
extras, so to speak.
Okay. All right, cool. So yeah, definitely excited to hear more, right? And excited that it's being looked at more than anything else as we get there. We'll be there. We'll be there to heckle a town meeting for you. We'll stay the extra, we'll be there for the third hour. The third hour.
The third hour?
Yeah.
It might be 13 hours. We're looking at potential overrides.
Oh, that's right.
That's not going to be a short meeting.
No.
Bring your coffee, bring your snacks.
Okay.
Bring a meal, yeah.
Oh, especially that's the late night one. That's on a Saturday one.
Saturday.
Yeah,
Oh,
Saturday
no, this is an
morning.
annual, so it's Saturday.
Oh,
Saturday morning.
9 a.m.
oh,
Yeah.
good. So I can manage to do everything I want till 5 and then show up
And-
still be there for the override though. Right.
And
Yeah.
once we get past that, the FinCom can leave because everything after that has no financial bearing, right?
Good
I
luck.
think that would be up to Mr. Murphy, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Yeah, I'm gonna pose that question, or have the chair pose that question to him in their organizational meeting for town meeting.
Okay.
Makes no sense for finance committee to sit there for 4 hours through a bylaw change.
Or even if you became members of the audience at that point.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Right.
Sit with the loved ones and all that stuff. Okay, excellent. All right, so I appreciate that on that, coming and saying hello to us for that.
Definitely,
Yeah, we
definitely.
definitely-
And I've been one of the jerks that's been complaining that we don't have any more joint meetings. So I would be a fool to have been asked to this one and not shown up.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I apologize, I didn't tell you early, this is not a formal meeting, I'm the last one to worry about. To me, it's a discussion group more than anything else,
No, that's great. That's
Especially since, as you can see, we have so many
Yeah.
audience participation members always. I think you guys get a few, right?
every once in a while.
Yeah.
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 Dave Rogers lives right up the road, so he
Oh.
comes in sometimes.
Oh, okay. See, that I don't mind. If they come in, I'm okay. It's, it's the ones that just want to heckle on Zoom. It's like, get off.
Yeah.
So no problem there. Okay.
All right. So yeah. So like I said, we'll be talking about it this Monday, and then the public hearing is the second Monday after that.
Excellent. All right, I'll try. I'm not sure from, oh, actually, let's see. What time's your meeting?
We do 6.
Oof, okay, so I gotta do I'll be sitting here for the Boys and Girls Club on Monday.
And
So-
then the caucus is on 25th.
Okay, so, okay, all right.
A lot of stuff going on this time of year.
Fun times.
Yeah, I got this one today, 3 tomorrow. And I think I'm done for the week.
Okay, no problem there. All right, excellent. So, I'm gonna table the discussion on the structure. Because I'd like to make it so that the whole committee, I'll look to push to have another meeting very quickly.
Yeah, I think more because the push to get the grant application is, only a few short weeks
Correct,
between now and when it's gonna close.
yes,
So, I'm thinking we need a meeting before the end of this month even to find out where we're at and make sure that we're on board. Or once you know what the actual date, if the dates have been set.
yeah,
The worst thing that could happen is that, as far as I'm concerned, is they come out with a date finally and it's 3 days after they tell us what the date is actually for a
correct,
deadline,
yes.
That's why I don't want to sit on our laurels here. I want to make
Right.
sure we have, if at all possible, have all the data ready to go and then just hand it to them.
Correct, I agree with you 100%. So let me reach out to Kelly tomorrow on and things like that. And I've been putting off travel, and unfortunately for me, I know I gotta look at what my calendar looks like. So I'll hit you guys up.
We need to get off of Wednesdays.
I'm okay with that, getting up for Wednesdays.
Yeah, I reached out to Nat after he
Yeah.
sent that message and I asked him, so what days, if we were, and I don't know if I put it fully, but I personally think that once we do get a little more organized and with some of the things that Kim is interested in the committee watching and stuff, that I think we should try as a committee to find a monthly day that works. Like the finance committee does every other, the second and fourth Thursdays of the month, except during this time, budget season.
Right,
All the committees have a set schedule.
understand, like I said, this
If we
committee,
can find,
yeah, we had it originally when we were talking about becoming a green community.
Yeah.
It kind of died over time, just because when I got down to only 3 members.
Yeah.
It was tough to do that because you always needed a quorum, and unfortunately, I haven't gotten out of that mode.
Yeah.
So, and now unfortunately for me, I'm now getting told I'm traveling more.
Yeah.
So I definitely need that restructure so that I can do it.
yeah, and I think a full structure of the committee will help for you, Dave, too, if you have to travel and we've got stuff that really needs to be,
Yes.
at least broached for the first run through or whatever. We can do that and you can join us through Zoom or whatever if we have a vice chair that can run the meeting.
That's exactly what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So, I went through a period of, yes, Dave, as long as you go up there and do all the speeches, do all the presentations and everything like that, I will be a member.
Yeah.
If you ask me to do anything, I will quit. So, it was a little
Yes.
tough. You
I
know?
totally get it.
We live in Lunenburg, so,
Yeah.
you have to be cognizant of that.
Yeah.
Very much so. Okay, I'm with you on that. All right. I'll go with there's this week. So, any issues with the minute? How'd you like the minutes? Oh, the only thing I found in the minutes was, you had, application for spring block was this February 7th, application due April 12th for fall block. I don't think it's April 12th.
Yeah, no, I don't, there is no
There is no.
date for
Yeah.
the fall block yet.
Yeah.
The fall block is basically usually opens in October,
Right,
and then there's a close date after that. The spring would be, opens in February, closes, I'm not even sure when it closes, do you?
I thought it was March, sometime in March, but they
Yeah.
haven't even opened it yet.
Right, they were supposed to have the form out, by, what was it, February
February 7th.
7th or 12th?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they still haven't got it out, so.
Okay, so want me to just remove that because it's not accurate, those 2 sentences?
So it'd just be, just to remove the 2 sentences. Okay.
Other than that, I move we accept them as amended.
Okay, I'll second. Am I allowed to do that as a chair? Am I allowed to second? Okay.
Three of us here.
Okay. You approve of your own?
I do.
Okay, all right.
Aye.
Did.
All right, all right. Excellent, excellent. Okay. Super. All right. Then I guess I do my thing. Any public comment from the public out there? Seeing
Are we
none?
still on Zoom?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah, we're
yeah.
still recording here. in fact.
Okay.
Oh, I wanted to just.
Oh, yeah, I wanted to do the social stuff, if you want for a second.
Yeah, so I have that post for the streetlights.
Yes.
We did the one with like the book thing, which was cool, so I wanna keep looking out for stuff like that related. And then the background one, so then after that, I think I'm gonna start doing some like Mass Save posts. Cause for myself, I learned today that Mass Save will no longer be providing grants or the 0% heat loans for non-heat pump things.
Yep.
So that was a surprise to me. I just got an estimate for propane. It's a lot, but I'm like, this is last year that it'll qualify for the loan. So other people might be interested in that type of stuff as well. And then that's all I have for the Facebook page. I went to the Grid Modernization Advisory Council meeting, which was interesting. The one that Kelly had talked about, I was asking questions. Because I'm more concerned with, okay, we're pushing electricity use in systems. Does the grid support that? So a lot of them are really focused on ensuring that the grid's like kind of ready to go for that.
Yes.
So they have a consultant that has been working with Unitil, Eversource, and National Grid. And the general consensus was they were not pleased with the companies and their lack of prep and information that they're providing to like have accurate forecasting for demand. So.
They're not happy with like the Unitils, National Grids, those companies, they're saying?
Yeah, so,
Okay.
so the companies are giving the information and forecasts to the consultants, and they were presenting the information that they had, and the council is just like, this doesn't make me feel good. I'm not comfortable with these forecasts. So it's good that they are focused on, the council is really interested in that, because that's what I think is really important for the people. In addition to the finance part, they're really need to make sure that it's still going to be affordable for residents.
Okay.
Which is important because all three electric companies were proposing increases in their capital and operating costs. So they're like, well, that doesn't sound promising. So it seemed like they're on it, but they're concerned.
Okay.
So I don't know.
All right.
I don't know how it's entirely relevant, but I found it interesting.
No, that is, well, like I said, that to me is the biggest thing is that this town has bumped into it at least 3 times now where Unitil said, oh, the infrastructure can't handle any more solar panels.
Yeah. Right.
And you have to wait. It's like, okay, what am I waiting for? You know, you guys haven't replaced a wire in this town in 50 years, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it'll be interesting how the like mass requirements for all like the green use of things is going to butt heads with
Steal that.
how everything turns out with the companies.
Okay. Okay. And I sent you guys that little thing. There's a whole big symposium on like, you know, this whole idea of the grid and the solar, electric panels and solar being held at, the good one is at Greentown Labs in the evening. I don't know but it's a fun place, Greentown Labs. It's an incubator space in Somerville that's dedicated to companies that have to do something with energy efficiency. So most of the companies are like, the big sponsors there are Shell, DuPont, and another chemical company. So most of the folks are like, you know, like packaging stuff and things like that. But there's some interesting other stuff there. Like folks like ChargePoint have been there for a while, and a few other guys came out of that. So it's usually good food, and sometimes they usually have an open bar, so I'm okay. Yeah. The CIC one that's in the morning, it's in Cambridge at CIC, and that's like, if you're familiar, that's 1 Broadway, which is right by MIT. So parking is ridiculous, the building's ridiculous, and the space is not really conducive for that. But they like to sponsor these things, and CIC is like 200 companies there. So that one's an interesting one too. There they have all the, the candy and latte and all that stuff stationed, so that the idea if you have a company there, it's supposed to be so you never have to leave. You can be there like 24/7 and survive still.
Mhm.
They bring food in and all that stuff, so, yeah. Even though I don't think if I had a company there, I could afford to go out and eat in Cambridge anyhow. Even a sub, it's probably $15-20 for a sub, so, okay,
Interesting.
all right. All right. Anything else before I'm gonna entertain?
I'm just trying to figure the conversation we had earlier about when you kind of get a idea when we're gonna meet again.
I'm looking, I'm gonna look at I'll look at my schedule. By Friday, I'll put out an email for everybody.
Like I
Okay.
said, Matt's response to me was any day but Wednesday.
I understand, and that's what I think it's
I don't-
more.
I don't know what's gonna happen with anybody else in the group.
I-
Right now, Thursdays are horrible for me, but that's gonna lighten up soon.
I'm actually looking at it as more Tuesdays for me. It's probably the best day. I know it's the board BOS meeting, but the fact of the matter is I look at it as, if there was something that was important, fine, we adjourn early or something like that. And as we talked about, I don't think there's an hour and a half worth of stuff every time. I'm kind of I keep looking at the clock saying I'm over time, because usually I make sure these meetings, we try to make sure the meetings are done shortly after 8, right? But
Yeah, late
BOS
start.
had the record longest meeting ever last night.
really,
That was the longest ever?
That's what they were saying,
how long did it go to?
11:30 or so.
Oh, they should be on the conservation committee meetings.
So I know.
I've been sitting there waiting for them to call me, and I had to tell them at like 11:35. By the way, I'm still waiting.
By the way, did you have anything else?
Tuesdays won't work for me until the end of May.
Oh, that's right. Tuesday rang a bell when you said it. and I couldn't remember what it was.
All right, so for me, it would just be as long as I stay away from the second Monday of the month, I can do that. And actually, Mondays work out well for me. I usually try to be home on Monday and then leave on business on Tuesday. So that works out well. Okay. Nobody wants to see me on a Monday. Or a Friday.
Yeah.
So, okay.
And I think too, as soon as possible, I think the conversation should be had with Ben. If he wants to be an associate member, we could get him into that process, because
Yes.
Elaine is done tomorrow, so I think the process might be a little bit slower than it used to be.
Oh, that's right. Okay. She's getting to retire finally, huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
Congratulations, by the way. Not that I expected to see this meeting, but
Yeah. No problem there. Okay. Excellent. All right. I'll accept. Anything?
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Excellent.
8:08.
8:08. All right. Let me call this thing and say, stop recording. Stop